Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for joining this presentation today. As part of our final project for the Introduction to Linguistics course, my group and I will present a topic entitled Sociolinguistics. So let us introduce ourselves. My name is Fahradiba Lexyross, and the last three digits of my student ID number are 064.
My name is Nabilah Bilqis, and the last three digits of my student ID number are 063.
My name is Dinda. My name is Dinda Hariadi with the last digit number of 054.
We would also like to express our gratitude to our lecturers, Ma'am Ayunita and Sir Slamet, for their guidance and support throughout this course. So in this presentation, I will discuss three parts of sociolinguistics. First, what is sociolinguistics, key concepts in sociolinguistics, and the sociolinguistics of multilingualism. But before I begin, I would like to apologize because I will not be turning on my camera during this presentation since I need to share my screen for the slides and I am unable to use the camera at the same time. So let me start with the first topic. What is sociolinguistics? Sociolinguistics is the study of the relationship between language and society. It examines how language is influenced by social factors such as age, gender, social class, education, and culture. In daily life, people do not speak in the same way all the time. We change our language depending on the situation and the people we talk to. Like, for example, we use informal language with friends, but more formal language when speaking to lecturers or like these presentations. This shows that language is closely connected to society. Indexicality. One important concept is indexicality. Indexicality is how our language choices signal our social identity. The way we speak can show information about who we are. For example, slang is often linked to younger speakers, while certain accents may show where someone comes from. Language can reflect age, education, and social background. Another concept is acts of identity. This idea explains that when we speak, we are showing who we are and what group we belong to, either consciously or unconsciously. For example, a student may use academic language in class to sound formal, but then switch to informal language with friends. This also related to accommodation, where people adjust their speech to match others and build social connection. Second material is key concepts in sociolinguistics. The first concept is standard language ideology. It is the belief that one language variety is more correct or prestigious than others. For example, standard English is often seen as more proper than regional dialects, even though all varieties are linguistically valid. The second concept is language subordination. This happens when non-standard or local varieties are considered inferior or less educated. In reality, all languages and dialects are systematic and valid, but social attitudes create inequality. Next is overt and covert prestige. Overt prestige refers to using standard language to appear educated or professional, such as in interviews or formal situation. Meanwhile, covert prestige refers to using local dialects or slang to show identity or closeness with a group, especially among friends. And the next material will be explained by my partner.
We will explain about the variations of sociolinguistics. So the first one is sociolinguistics is the branch tracks of how language change over time. It helps us to understand why people choose different words or sound. These choices also usually connect to social groups, with including to social class, gender, and geographic location. For example, a research study from American Sign Language, they look at the sign of the number one and find out that the sign changed based on where a person went to school. It also changed based on ethnic background. This research used a quantitative approach with a specific vowel grammar structure, they try to remain neutral and avoid the observer's paradox. This paradox happens because when people change the way they speak because they know someone is watching them. So to collect data, research use three different ways. The first one is surveys and interview, real-time studies, and apparent time studies. So I will explain about the interactional sociolinguistics. So in the 1960s, early linguists cared mostly about the perfect grammar rules in the brain, but interactional sociolinguistics challenged that idea. So this rules is most important thing knowing how to communicate in a real life. So a linguistics called Delheims created a helpful tool called a speaking acronym, which are as refers to setting and where is the interaction happening. P is participants, who is talking to whom. E is the ends, what are the goals of the speakers. A is the act of sequence, in what order do things happens in the talk. K is the key, what is the tone of manner of the event. I is refers to instrumentalities, what channel is used, what are they speaking or texting. N is the norms, what are the social rules of the interaction. G is the genre.
Okay, I will take over the material from sociolinguistics. I will explain about the language and identity. It has a three important topic. The first topic is the wave of sociolinguistics, based on Introduction to Linguistics, Eckert 2012, explain the three waves of sociolinguistics. The first wave focused on big social categories such as social class and biological sex. In this wave, research looked at how a person's position in society influenced their language use. Research study how this category influences the way people speak. For the example, people from different social class may use different language accent. The second wave shift the focus to local social networks. In this way, sociolinguistics study how close relationships in community influence language use. For the example, members of a close-knit group often develop similar ways of speaking because they interact frequently with one another. The third wave focuses on stylistic practice. This means research examine how people use language, clothing, fashion, and behavior to build their own identity. In this perspective, language is not only influenced by society, but also used actively by individuals to express themselves. The second topic is communities of practice. Communities of practice are groups of people who come together because they share the same activity or interest, such as a sport team or hobby group. Through this shared activity, they develop their own speaking style, expression, and their behavior. The last topic is gender paradox. In general, a paradox means a situation or statement that difficult to understand because it contains two opposite facts. Labov 1990 introduced the concept of the gender paradox to explain the linguistic behavior of men and women, especially in Western society. This phenomena is when women often lead language change by using newer forms in formal situations. However, in casual speech, they can also use the innovative local forms. Meanwhile, men are often associated with more non-standard stable form. This phenomena is called a paradox because women can appear both more conservative and more innovative in language use depending on the context.
Okay, so the next material is the sociolinguistics of multilingualism. Multilingualism refers to the ability to use more than one language, which is very common today. First, we have diglossia. Diglossia is when two language varieties are used in different situations. For example, in Arabic-speaking countries, standard Arabic is used in formal settings, while local dialects are used in daily conversations. Second is language shift and language death. Language shift happens when a community gradually stops using one language and starts using another, often because the new language has more social or economic value. And if a language is no longer used at all, it becomes extinct. This is called language death. and many minority languages are currently endangered because of this. Third is code switching. Code switching is when speakers mix two or more languages in one conversation. For example, someone say, aku belum selesai ngerjain tugasnya because I'm really busy. This is common among bilingual speakers and can help express meaning, identity, or emotion more effectively. And last but not least is translanguaging. Translanguaging is the idea that multilingual speakers do not separate their languages strictly. Instead, they use all their language resources as one flexible system. For example, in some communities like Kasital in South Africa, people mix several languages naturally to communicate and express identity. The next topic is the sociolinguistics of globalization will be explained by my partner.
Now I will explain the last material is the social linguistic of globalization. It has a three concept. The first concept is super diverse cities. Are cities with massive migration flow where people from different country and different background come together to bring different language. Because of globalization, many people today become multilingual. The second concept is linguistic inequality. It refers to unequal access to power and resource based on the way a person speaks. Because of this linguistic inequality, people who speak with another accent may experience the discrimination in education, jobs, or social life. The last concept is language commodification. That means language is treated like a product or skill that can create economic profit in a global capitalist economy. In globalization, language ability can become something valuable in the job market. For the example, the call center workers in Pakistan may learn a native like American or British accent in order to secure better job opportunity and maintain their job stability. In this case, language is not only used for communication but also becomes an economic research.
In conclusion, the most important takeaway is that every time we speak, we are performing an act of identity. We are telling the world who we are and where we come from. So, language is just never an abstract grammar or rules in the textbook, but language is a living and breathing part of our society. So, adopting social linguistics opens up a question about our everyday world and teach us to listen not just to what people are saying, but understand why they say it what they want to do. Thank you for listening our presentation. Goodbye.